Okay, so today I think I'm going to take a break from the endless violence of the Three Mothers, although I will still watch the last one soon. Just a little break though, and I've picked a more random film, more random than the last couple of days, since, well, I began by watching the middle one, but yeah, the sequel. Anyway, this random film now is called Operation Avalanche, apparently made in 2016, and begins really strangely. Made me think it's from the 50s or something. It even messes with the aspect ratio, and I really hate that because I very much prefer to have a full screen aspect ratio. But in such cases, I don't think one can really do much. And there's actually about 7 minutes of 50s style letterboxed black and white stuff. I don't know what this is supposed to be about. If it's just a tongue-in-cheek comedy or what. I'm thinking it is. I mean, something about spies being sent into NASA for some reason. I don't think it's science fiction despite NASA being there, but we'll see anyway. Okay, well, it doesn't make clear, and I'm assuming if it's entirely fictional, it's deliberately obfuscating, I suppose, but they really do make it seem like this is based on a true story, and so much so they actually have what looks like real clips from when JFK was president. I'm pretty sure they're not acted. The low resolution can really be seen, and I doubt it's anyone else. Yeah, of course, it's the moon bit, which I've heard many times before, except I've never watched it. So it happens to be. I happened to watch it first from a movie, I suppose. I still don't know whether it's fictional or not. This is obviously not fictional. This is supposed to be about some sort of documentary, but not really then or something, and we'll see anyway. And yeah, instead of making the best effort to go to the moon, they investigate Kubrick, because everyone knows 2001 was totally sponsored by the USSR. And apparently the new operation is called Zipper, which can be anything other than, the indication that this is a comedy. I mean, this cannot be real, right? And one of them is called Bowls, and one is called Bracket. Yeah, the other one I assume is comma, and then semicolon. Ah, yeah, of course. Okay, I'm not sure if they really investigated Kubrick over Dr. Strangelove, but if so, that really makes them very similar to the paranoid general in the movie, doesn't it? I mean, just paranoia is all that. And yeah, it seems like a comedy based on the characters' reactions and interactions, but with regards to its reality, it's still an open question. I mean, they could easily be as simplistic in real life as well. I guess people are. I'm not sure if they have any initiation ceremonies in CIA, but they're all so childish, obviously. So yeah, just because the CIA is supposed to be all about intelligence doesn't mean they are actually intelligent, which of course is distinct from the other definition of intelligence. They're simply synonyms, but not. Wait, they're not. They're homonyms, not synonyms. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they just sound the same. And they are really not the same. They could really not be the same at any rate. I've heard recently that apparently they even use costumes to hide themselves, and it was quite a funny thing how they do it. A grown man can suddenly become an old lady or something. It's and apparently they have clothes to enable them to do that efficiently. It's quite strange. And yeah, they're seemingly so incompetent that it's like whatever they try to do reflected back at them, and they just hit their heads at an angle or something. It's kind of funny, but not quite. I mean, they're more oblivious than anything. I guess this is what it's like to have a first-hand held camera, first-person sort of view of a movie that isn't a horror show, I guess. I don't know. These are normally only, yeah, mostly are used for such, the jerky kind. I mean, they're supposed to do a documentary, but all the proper documentaries I ever watched didn't weren't so unstable. So usually the only unstable ones are those that are intentionally so, and most of those are in the horror genre, or at least the mm, but really, watching someone eat, even if there's a music track in the background, isn't quite the most exciting thing ever, now is it? By the way, I'm not sure if this is something that always happens, and well, I suppose it happens in referential movies, but I mean, well, no, and in period films usually, as long as they're not obviously set in hundreds of years ago, that usually, yeah, they could, I guess, show posters of other movies to indicate the sort of era they're set in, but not always, I suppose. Obviously, there are contemporary movies that simply do it, and there are others that were released at the time simply for just for the very effects. I'm not sure if it's an intentional thing that they put posted up. But yeah, this has old movies posters. It's incredible how this guy has this smirk on his face when reporting what is supposed to be bad news for his own country. It's quite bizarre, but I guess selfish reasons and all. But yeah, that's a fitting ending. Instead of oh, we can possibly talk to the president. Nope, but he cut his line off. Yep, just cut him straight off. Not entirely sure why the early moon film about with the facial moon. I forgot the director's name. Watched it once, but I forgot it's quite short. Yeah, I don't know why it's in Operation Zipper though. Honestly, it's just some movie, some filmmaker, magician made. I don't know. So yeah, he said that they hoped to look like geniuses. Of course, looking like is the key word here. It's 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 like well, it's what they are. The incompetent buffoons trying to look like something other than that. I mean, how can anyone even think that they can simulate different gravitational poles? Really, it's just such a massive difference in proportion. Of course, the real simpletons in this entire idea of a film is the conspiracy theorists. I mean, there's well, Yeah, and this being a pseudo documentary has a lot of these weird shots that really make little difference. They don't seem to be relevant to whatever they're supposed to be doing. Like some sort of martial arts when they're trying to find a moon-like place on Earth. It makes no sense, right? Uh, there's a lot of childishness as well, but then again, that can be possible, I guess, in such a situation. And Doctor Strangelove is actually featured as well, and these are both comedies essentially, but the satire in Strangelove is, yeah, much more subtle. Let's just say this is just too in your face, sort of. And it would be slightly better if the characters here looked slightly less constipated. They almost look like that all the time, nearly. I don't know. But at least they put some effort into that whole planning speech. It looks semi-realistic. And I don't know why, out of nowhere, it just transformed into some action movie. It makes little sense since everything else was so uh, just insubstantial, really. And not that action movie stuff is not insubstantial, but uh, it's quite uneven in this sense. It's interesting how occasionally they put in this visual noise that old movies used to have, but only occasionally. So I'm not sure why that would be. I suppose they obviously it hints towards an inferior sort of technology being used, but yeah. Other than that, there seems to be some light differences every so often as well. But you know what? I think I can one up them. I think the guy who thinks that the mole is a mole planted to make them think he's a mole is a mole himself. Yeah. And clearly they are the ones who are doing the other things. By the way, I much prefer it when they're showing shots from a bit afar, at least, or above, or somewhere. The close-ups are the worst. I don't know why they do close-ups. It's all like it's so close up, even much more close than any documentary I've ever seen. This is not really a documentary, but really way too close. I like the juxtaposition of the rocket alongside with the general burning of stuff. I suppose that's what fuel does, burns as well. So, well, yeah, finished it, and it's as I mentioned, uneven at best. Not entirely sure why it tries to go from ridiculously comic to a pseudo thriller, I suppose you could say, just like they try to be a pseudo documentary. It's not quite very thrilling, although it tries and a bit, and perhaps just a bit succeeds, but not really, and in the end just sort of fizzles out. It's inspired by actual events. I need to find out what exactly is actual. I'm assuming far from everything, and I have no idea where the astronauts come in here in the picture. But anyway, it's I don't know. Maybe if they try to do an actual film sort of a sort of documentary, it would have been better. It's way too jerky. I mean, it's almost feels sick. Really, it just doesn't feel like a good experience. Really, I mean, I don't know why they try to do that, as I mentioned, because actual documentaries aren't so shaky. Really, they're actually much more stable usually. So there we go.